Good morning, artists. Today we're going to talk about realism and we're going to compare it to abstract art. So realism is pretty much exactly like it sounds. It's based on real things and it looks real, kind of like a photograph. Here's a great example of realism. Friedrich Remington. He is known as a realist artist, and you can see how detailed his painting is. Looks very realistic. This is realism. It's like a photograph. So when you see a painting or a drawing that looks like a photograph, that's realism. As opposed to abstract, abstract is an art form that's based on nature. It's based on things in nature, but they're changed. Georgia O'Keeffe is an artist who works in abstract. She takes here flowers, large flowers, or she paints flowers very large and changes them by using just different values or shapes to create abstract flowers. They don't naturally look that way. She is expressing the form or essence of the flower. Another artist that uses abstract or works in abstract is Romare Bearden. He does a lot of abstract art with collage. So he cuts shapes out. So he uses shapes to create his pieces, as does Henri Matisse. Lots of shapes. Notice here the flat colors. There's no value change in this art. So this would be using shapes to create that abstract art. Again, based on nature. Those were both figures. I love this example. Picasso, here's the bull. He did a realistic drawing of the bull, and then each progressive drawing, he simplifies it more and more until he just has the essence of the bull here using line. You don't even see shading or value anymore. It's just line. So that's a great example of line to create an abstract shape. Again, it's based on something from nature. So that's what we're gonna do. And you can even see my painting behind me that I'm working on. That's an abstract piece. That one's based just using color, shape and color. So we are going to create a piece that's half and half. We're gonna do half realism and half abstract. We're gonna focus on making the lines and the colors to create our abstraction. All right, let's get started. You can see here, I am going to use fruit for my still life. I want you guys to pick something that is easy for you to draw, that doesn't have a lot of detail in it. Fruit is a great place to start because we can recognize the shapes, basic shapes, that we can easily draw. We don't have to worry about the detail on the banana with the color, but the shapes are easy for us to draw. So I have my still life here that I drew here. So I am using what's called the bird's eye view. I'm looking down on my still life. You can arrange your still life any way you like and look at it from a different view. You could look at it straight on. Just because of the way the camera is, it's easy for me to do a bird's eye view for you guys to understand. So what I did is I divided it kind of in half, and I did realism on this side, and over here on this side I did the abstract. So instead of continuing the curved line of the banana, I chose a curling line to create the stem of my banana. And then we'll look at it here, this part here, I just used these jagged lines and kind of made it like a geometric shape. So see how I just changed the lines. So here on the realist side, I drew the lines like I visually see them, and the shapes here that like I see them. But then on the abstract, I picked different kinds of lines. So same thing with my grapefruit. The grapefruit, pretty much that was the only part that was on the realism side. So I drew that line. But then when it got to the abstract side, I drew more of a jagged or a hard edge with angles instead of a smooth curve. And then for this here, again, I used a lot of just geometric shapes and zigzaggy lines wiggly lines, curly lines. So I changed the line quality. And then I did the same thing. My plate, circular plate, and then over here, jagged plate with rough zigzag edges instead of the nice scalloped edge on a plate. And then even my shadow, I saw, when I had my grapefruit down, I saw a shadow here. So instead of making that curved shape for the shadow, again, I made a zigzaggy, kind of a fun line. So I used lines to create the abstract part of my drawing. And I think that would be an easy way for you guys to start using and doing abstract, is if you create something like maybe you pick 2 or 3 flowers from your yard, put it in a vase. I wouldn't do more than 3 because it gets too complicated. And I did 3 pieces of fruit, 3 flowers, 3 pieces of fruit. Find 3 shapes that are easy for you to draw. Draw half of them realistically, the other half using different kinds of lines to create the shape. Then you're going to color it in. I chose crayons, but you could use markers. If you have paint, you could paint it in. But again, on the realistic side, I used realistic colors. And to get this different value for my banana, I used some of this darker brown with my yellow and overlapped. But then on the abstract side, a grapefruit isn't purple, but I thought that was a fun abstract color. So I just used my colors and varied the pressure so that I got different values, because I thought color as well as line would make a nice abstract piece. So if I wanted the color darker, I pushed a little harder with my crayon. If I wanted it lighter, I didn't press as hard. So I have different values, a light value, a medium value, and a darker value of my purple here. And if I wanted to even change that value more, I could even lay some blue on top of it. So now I'm just going to color in and shade my abstract part with colors that are not realistic. And then I'll have this beautiful, fun realism / abstract artwork. All right, artists, have a lot of fun creating your realistic abstract piece. Kind of reminds me of what's going on in our world right now. It's very real, but it feels a little abstract because we're all doing things differently. All right, have a great day, artists.